Welcome to CF 2.0 Geek Out, where we deep dive into ClickFunnels 2.0 and how to use it to grow your funnel building business.
Hey, I'm Susan.
And I'm Andrea.
Come along with us as we learn and discover how to use the new ClickFunnels and how to make it bend to our will. Hello, welcome to CF 2.0 Geek Out. We have a special guest with us today. Dan Havey is here with us. I'm Susan. This is Andrea.
Hello.
We're just going to cover quick update on timeline for 2.0 because today's the 10th of June. We promised, well, we didn't promise. We told you last week what the update was from ClickFunnels that we would be getting, or it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? That they were saying we were going to be getting it today. Let's see if any of us actually have it. We'll talk about that in a minute. We're going to do an open loop there. And then Dan is going to be diving. We're going to get a little bit geeky today. We're going to dive into some code of the 2.0 membership area that Andrea and I were talking about last week for the new funnel certification program from ClickFunnels. So I'm going to, Andrea, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you teed it up perfectly, Susan.
Right,
Thank you.
perfect. So we're going to just turn it over to Dan and we'll just ask questions as we go.
Okay, so you just want me, well, first off, I got to share my screen, right?
Yeah, go ahead and.
Okay. All right, I should be sharing my screen. Okay. Yeah. All right, so this is a membership area inside of 2.0. This is the CF certification program, and Andrea and I are in that. So far, they got 200 plus people in there at least.
Yeah.
And so just wanted to show everybody this real quick. It's pretty basic and simple. It's kind of sort of like the old one, kind of not. The real big difference on here is you got the nesting, and so you can have layers upon layers. So basically think in terms of WordPress, where you build a menu in there and you can have as many layers deep as you want built into it. And then they just got a couple of static pages up here at the top. Now, again, the problem is with the 2.0 versus the 1.0 is everything is its own separate page. So as you click on things, you're going to see here the page is refreshing and you get a completely new URL up here every single time. So that does slow things down, and it does, as far as the custom coding that we're doing with a lot of the 1.0 stuff, it's probably going to be difficult to do in 2.0 just simply because every single page is its own page. Now, with the universal sections and all that, maybe we can get it to work, but we'll have to see how much fancy schmancy stuff we can put in there. And we got a community in here too, and I'm going to let Andrea talk about that in a minute because I don't know anything about that stuff. As I always say to Andrea, I don't play well with the rest of the kids. So, so that's why she doesn't let me talk to anybody ever. But so you see here we got some drop downs. So you guys wanted to do a little inspection on this. So let's open this up and see what we have inside of here. Let's go up to the top. Now, nope, I'm up too high. Okay, that's main sidebar, tabs. We've got tabs here. But the interesting thing I'm seeing here is this is a custom JavaScript HTML element, which now makes me think, is this not a built-in function into ClickFunnels? Because I was thinking it was, and I thought that we had determined that it was couple of weeks ago or something, didn't we? And now I'm seeing that it's a custom JavaScript box.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and maybe it's something where it's
sure.
like, well, and maybe it's something where it's like it was like a effort just to get these programs up and running, right? Because we have the 2CCX group, and now we have a certification, and so which we saw a very similar custom JavaScript in both of those. And so maybe it's something where it's just, it hasn't been hard programmed into actual elements yet, but it is, it's the prototype, for lack of a better word, but like a live prototype that can model the real code from.
Yeah, because there's really no reason why they shouldn't be able to build this in directly into ClickFunnels, because I mean, all drop down is, and you can see the structure of it here is you start off with a couple of ULs, unordered list elements. And then you just put the list of everything you want inside of it. And every time you want to go another level deep, you put in another UL and you put in some more LIs, and there you go. I mean, it's just very, very basic HTML. Has been around for ever since they created HTML. So it's not anything terribly difficult. So I would probably guess and hope that they're going to build this in, because they have to have some sort of navigation.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine we're going to hard code it each time. So that actually was actually a little surprising. But after all the other issues we've seen with 2.0 right now, they're struggling. Let's just put it that way. And they're still, we just had a call with somebody earlier today, and they confirmed to us the things that we thought weren't working. They basically confirmed, you're right, they're not working. And we're like,
but I think
okay,
that they're actively, I mean, there was also a active communication trying to address those things. So,
oh yeah, they're working their ass off. I don't think
Yeah.
there's no doubt about that. They're just, they've gotten behind, and now they're trying to get things caught up in here. So was there anything else you guys wanted to see in here? Because like I said, I was expecting to see something totally different. Now we got the breadcrumbs across the top up here. We can inspect those real quick, see what those look like. Okay, so this is an actual element now in ClickFunnels. You can see here, let me pull this over a little bit. So this is an element called breadcrumbs. So that is something that you'll just be able to drop in there. And then I would guess, I mean, it has to know then what the structure is of all the different pages. So that makes me believe that has to be integrated with the navigation somehow, because as you go through the navigation, it has to be able to know the hierarchy of how these pages are stacked up.
Right.
Is basically whether you're talking about the left-hand side or you're talking about the breadcrumbs, it's essentially a table of contents inside of a book.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has to know where it's at in order to put out this breadcrumbs properly. So yeah, so they're working on it. They're moving forward. So the breadcrumbs at least work, and that's nice always to have that, what do you call it, Andrea, wayfinding on there. So that's a good thing. Is there anything else you guys wanted me to look at here?
Yeah, if you could inspect the community aspect of it. So last week we were speculating, it's actually right there on the right-hand side. So the
which part do you want me to look at?
I think the big question is, so this is circle.io, and what we know about circle.io is that it has an open API structure. Of the community platforms out there, it's one of the ones that does have an open API. Other ones that you might be familiar with would be Discord, Slack, Mighty Networks, and of course, Facebook groups are the popular community tools that are out there. But circle.io is the only one that has that open API. And so it was really promising for a while as a potential embed, which now we see it embedded in here, which is great. I originally had hypothesized that this was the first kind of indication of 2.0 actually being a platform and not just a typical SaaS product. But I think the question, Dan, is the degree to which it is embedded. So like we know that we just found out this morning when we logged out, it did log us out of community. So user authentication and passing of user variables is not in there yet. And I don't know if through the open API that's possible and we could program that or what that looks like. But yeah, I'm just curious, you reading and all of the amazingness that you read in the inspect tool of just the degree of embeddedness that and like integration potential with the rest of the 2.0 system.
Well, yeah, it's totally embedded. You can see here with this iframe.
Yeah.
And that iframe always tells you that it's going out. Iframe is an inline frame. So it's going out to some other page on the internet, grabbing a hold of that page and displaying it right here. Mm-hmm. And so it's displaying community.marketingsecrets.com, which, if I'm not mistaken, we had open here. Yeah, community.marketingsecrets.com. So that's this right here. Let me change that out. And here we got Russell again with the intro post, and the 12-year-old genius here is making more money than all of us put together.
You didn't make $1 million.
Don't you just want to smack him? Jeez.
I know we're all behind the curve. It's like a
wish you were 12 years old again so you could learn this stuff without all your preconceived garbage in your head.
Right.
But yeah, so that's what it was here wherever we were. Is so this iframes, and it is inside of a JavaScript HTML box, and so you got the iframe
What's the
to this
significance
page
of
here.
it being in the JavaScript box?
I'm sorry, what?
What is the significance of it being inside of the JavaScript box?
Absolutely nothing. The
Okay.
reason why it has to be inside of there is so that you can position it on the page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all it is. You can't put it into the tracking code, because you put it in the tracking code, it would, I'm not even sure if it'd work. If it did work, it would cover the entirety of the page, I would think.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never even tried it, because that's not how you do it. So you take your HTML box, which is, let me see here. So that this here represents the HTML box on the page. You drop the iframe into it, fills up the box.
You know what would be interesting, Dan, is for us to test the deep linking capability from the circle.io to some other space inside of the certification program.
So a link from this page essentially back in there.
Yeah, if deep linking is even a possibility.
Well, yeah, because every single page
is unique.
So if you're saying here inside of here, let's just go to secrets
Yeah.
book here.
Like, I really liked the secrets book, whatever. And if it would deep link right there.
Yeah, so you would just put this link in there. So I could drop that link into the community over here right now. Somebody could click on it and go in. Of course, they have to be logged in, or they have to log in order to get there. But yeah, that's it, because it's just a link. So that's a case where this is easier to work with than 1.0, because in 1.0 we have to say, okay, we want you to go to this very specific lesson, and we have to give it the lesson ID so somebody can find it.
Okay.
So that's the difference there. But you take, we've done it with our code. You just put it into a link. The link can say go here, but the code behind it puts that ID number in there, and then just takes you directly into that lesson.
Okay. So there won't be any special code, because if I add that link in there and I'm not an authenticated user yet, so when I click on that deep link, they have to somehow save state, right? Maybe in the local storage or something, so that it takes me through the authentication path and then gets me back on track, what I think I clicked. So there's no special code for saving that information to get me through the authentication process.
No. And well, at this point here, I'm not quite sure how their login process works, because you got that secret. Well, that's it. And my biggest concern when it comes to these membership sites is the login process and the secret link and all that kind of stuff, and how many headaches is that going to cause us from a support standpoint where people can't log in.
Yeah.
Because
have you guys been able to do the password route? Have you got it?
Yeah, I've got the password working. In fact, well, what it was, a couple of weeks ago that Susan was doing it, and so I watched what she did, and then I did it myself.
And I thought we got yours working.
You have to
too,
go in
Andrea.
there. Yeah, you have to go in there. You have to go in there, and you have to tell it to. I think you have to tell it to reset your password.
Yeah,
and that's when it lets you create a password. Is when you go reset your password. And I've seen that on other systems before. And I always thought, that's not terribly intuitive.
No.
To create a password by resetting your password.
Right. Yeah. So we did go through it, Susan, you're right, but it reverted back today when I got logged out of everything and tried to log back in. Didn't work.
You still couldn't do it. And I haven't logged in a while since we were doing it. So I'll check mine. I wish, I feel like the best user experience as a consumer is, well, I was going to say is when the password is just created for me and then they send it to me in an email. But honestly, I don't like that either, because then I have to go find that email if I forget to save it into my password finder. I honestly like the way that ClickFunnels 1.0 works, where you just go and create your account. I mean, with improvements, of course, but I'm going to go to this page and I'm going to create my account, and I'm going to create my username, and I'm going to create my password. And then I'm going to save that. And I don't have to lose some password that they sent me because I forgot to go and change my password. And so I wish they would just allow, if people love the secret link, whatever that's called, then have that, but have a good working option of, if you come here, just create your password. And if you're using the same email you purchased with, then you're golden.
I think the only thing that you make login easier, and this is, I think there's a good percentage of the population that won't take this just because of their own skepticism on social media. But I do think that the easiest login option right now for a lot of people is social authentication. So using the Google or the Facebook authentication methods, and having those be an option, which again, that would need to be something that would be done on the ClickFunnels platform to allow us to do that, which, in the order of priorities, I'm sure that's pretty low.
It is definitely the easiest way. Although I would say me personally, I try to avoid that because of what I've noticed, like specifically with Canva, I'll use this as an example. I think it was Canva, it might have been a different one, but if you go and use that as your sign in once, and that's your account now, and you want to like give someone else access, like you have a team member or something and you need to give them access, and now you don't have a username and password connected to your account because you logged in with social media. So now you have to let them log into your social media account to get access into this other thing. And it's a big headache. There was something that I did that for. It may have not been Canva. And then I couldn't attach a password to my account. And I had to I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I can't give you access now.
Right.
We'll have to figure out another way.
Yep. It's exactly. Yeah.
So I avoid that now. I used to do it a lot because it's convenient, but sometimes convenience is not actually convenient when you get further down the road.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, I like the login with Google thing. I don't have to remember anything then.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think it was
if somebody were to hack it, I never look at my Gmail account. So I don't care. Spam that to death. You want me? I'll show you my Gmail account one more time here, just so you can spam it, because I don't ever look at it. I have no idea what is in there. So so for me, that's the best thing. Would I use my Facebook? No. But I use Google. That's the only reason I do it.
Yeah.
All right. So we covered a few things here. We'll go ahead and give the update now of when are we getting ClickFunnels 2.0, because if you are in the beta group, you probably have been waiting for that email to show up that we have it, and it never has showed up. It is the 10th. They did say we would be getting it this 6th, and then it changed to the 10th. And now they have changed the date again. I don't know what date they gave us. Honestly, it probably doesn't even matter, and we probably shouldn't even mention it to get hopes up, because it's probably not happening that date either. So bottom line is we don't have it yet, the larger beta group, and we don't know for sure when we're getting it. So we'll just all keep waiting patiently.
I think the most clarity we can give on it is when we were on that call earlier, Andrea, didn't the guy say they're hoping for next week or something to that effect? And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound very confident though.
Yeah.
We're hoping for next week is less sure than an actual date, which they have given us already, and they didn't fulfill on a date. So,
well, and I'm just going to throw in my 2 cents worth here on this whole thing. And hopefully you guys can't hear my dog yipping outside the door. I pretty much, as far as the 2.0 and the whole thoughts of doing, I mean, I had these grandiose plans of all the stuff I was going to do with 2.0. Well, I threw all that away a couple months ago. And now I'm really to the point where it's just, I'm not putting any faith in it. I've seen the software. I know that it's not working very good. I know that we're getting a very tiny sliver of it. We've had admissions from people who work in it every day that it doesn't work. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to build a hub at this point, and a bunch of other things. And that's not slacking on ClickFunnels at all. I love these guys, but it's not ready yet. It's just that simple. So what I would say to everybody is, don't get so excited about 2.0, because it could be a while before this thing really goes live to the world, where you can start building funnels for other people, especially if you're thinking from an agency standpoint. If you're looking to build for other people, this may be a year or two before it is available to the public, to the point where you can really build stuff for people. So if you're thinking about learning anything to do with ClickFunnels, get a 1.0 account, get the $97 if that's all you can afford, and just learn how to build. Learn how to build funnels. different types of funnels, learn the code, learn everything, so that when 2.0 comes out, you can just jump straight into it. Because the difference between the two, you'll figure that out in a couple of hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be the easy part. The hard part is get started now, because don't wait, because it's going to be a while realistically before 2.0 is available.
Yeah. Well, and I think the interesting, I 100% agree with you, Dan. I think the interesting thing too is that we should not lose sight of the fact that ClickFunnels is still the best funnel building software in the world. I mean, it still has the best funnel technology. And it's still the number one platform that you can actually make a membership completely customized and do some pretty amazing things, far surpassing Kajabi and Thinkific and Teachable and all those other things. So like, we shouldn't overlook 1.0 just because a 2.0 is on the horizon.
Yeah. Well, and the beauty of 1.0 versus any other software that I've used before is our ability to be able to manipulate the code.
Mm-hmm.
Because there have been other platforms I've been on where it just either they don't let you do it, or they hide it so well that you can't be like, I mean, the beauty of ClickFunnels is you can be working in the editor, writing the CSS code while in the editor and have it change on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them, the CSS is 3 pages away. You got to go in there, put in the CSS, and come back to the page. And so,
Did it work?
Yeah, exactly. Or there was one software I used. If you put in any JavaScript code, it would automatically run the JavaScript right on the page, which it's not supposed to do. And if you had an error, it would kill your page. And there was no recovery except going to the bosses and say, hey, can you recover my page for me? Because it was on WordPress. So ClickFunnels did it right. JavaScript runs when it's supposed to run, which is on page load. CSS is active right in the editor all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Makes sense.
That's my 2 cents worth.
I think that was good. It was needed, and I agree. And I think just like end on the note of, even when we do have beta, whether it's next week or not, if further in the future, that doesn't mean it's going to be like, okay, let's go. But because it's probably not going to be much different than what we have access to now. And like you said, it's just not ready to be used.
It's just the hubs. So
it's I think
you get the editor, but it's only partially the editor.
Yeah, I think at this point, the excitement comes from like getting in there, getting visual on it. Like, it's exciting to see what is in there so far. But the excitement kind of ends there, because you really I don't know of anybody who's using it live at this point, a funnel hub. I haven't seen anyone. Of course, I don't see everybody that's got it, but yeah, I think that's just where it ends. Like, the excitement is just like getting in there because you want to nerd out on it. But then there's like not much else to do. So, okay. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dan.
All right. You're welcome.
We will probably be back next week and we'll see what we're going to be talking about. We'll see if we have it yet or not. And if we do, there's probably not gonna be much difference. So we'll be back and, continue on talking about membership stuff too, that Andrea started a few weeks ago. So that's coming at some point. All right. See you later, everybody.
Bye, guys.